It's technically kind of about sleep paralysis, but I don't feel like it was sleep paralysis due to the fact, well, I'll let you know why I don't think it was due to sleep paralysis. And also, Halloween is my favorite. Well, it's not my favorite, but I do love Halloween. All the shows that come out, the spooky stories that come out, YouTube story times that come out. And I was like, why don't I just do one myself? I mean, I have so many stories. Why don't I just do one myself? Okay, so let me just jump right into it. Um, this story started when I was 13 years old, maybe 14. And I remember my mother got sick. We were living in the city, so to speak. We were living in Irving, Texas, which is kind of like the city back then. And my mom just wanted something like, she wanted a house. We were living in a condo at the time. We wanted to move into a house, something that was residential, like, just secluded area. And we ended up finding that 3 bedroom, 2 bath house in Arlington, Texas. We move in there. My mom, she was in between being sickly. She was fighting for her life. She was diagnosed with leukemia, so she was going through chemo and all of that. I had to take care of her, and I would do it all over again. I love that woman. That woman is my everything. And I remember at the time we were all each other had, and we moved into the house. We fixed up the house. Anything that needed to be fixed, we did it ourselves. Little old 13, 14 me and my mom, 2 women doing it, on our own. And that was really fun. And I remember it took about, I think, 6 months into us moving into the house is when I noticed that I was having these weird um, visions, and weird things happened to me in my sleep, and I couldn't explain what it was. I would tell my mom about it, and she's like, we come from a long line of dreamers. My mother is Nigerian. She's Yoruba. My father's Nigerian. He's Igbo. And we come from a long line of people that are extremely sensitive, but they call them dreamers in our family. And she's like, maybe that's just what it is. Maybe you're developing your skills, and think people are coming to you, and you're relaying the message back or whatever, and that's what they want. And I was terrified. I was so terrified. All of this never really started until I turned 14, and it ramped up when we moved into that house in Arlington. And so I just didn't know what to do. And one night, I fell asleep, and I was tossing and churning and tossing and churning. Couldn't really sleep, so I rolled on my stomach. And I remember I rolling on my stomach, all of a sudden I felt a weight, like 100-pound weight on my back. And I remember thinking to myself, why can't I move? Why is my legs not working? I mean, my head is working. I can move my head, but my legs, why can't I move? Like, why can't I move my arms? Why can't I move my legs? And I'm trying to, and I'm getting more scared. The more I can't move, the more scared I'm getting. And I'm trying to look around, look behind me, and what's going on? And I started praying. 14-year-old me praying the best way I knew how. I started praying. I started saying, God, please, whatever this is, release me from it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to know it. I'm a huge scaredy cat. I'm a really big wussy wuss. Okay, so being 14, imagine how much of a wussy wuss I was then versus now. Even now, I'm a wussy wuss, but I really was a wussy wuss back then. So I'm like freaking out. I'm hyperventilating. I'm screaming, and all of a sudden, it's like somebody took my vocal cords away. I'm not able to scream anymore. So that's when I started panicking. I'm like, please God, whatever this is, get it off of me. Get it off of me. Get it off of me. I don't want it on me. So all of a sudden, I feel like the best way I can explain it, imagine like weight on your back. And let's say, for example, 100 pounds, which is exactly how I felt. It was like 150 pounds on my back. It's how I felt like I was suffocating. No, I'm not even exaggerating. I'm like trying to hyperventilate to breathe at this point. And I feel it go from like 100 pounds to like 80 pounds to 70 pounds to 60 pounds, then to 20 pounds, then it's gone. Like that. Just that quick. And I'm thinking to myself, what in the world was that? I get up and I take off running to my mom's I take off running to my mom's room and I tell her what happened. Now, my mom has never been the type of mom to be like, you know what, go back to sleep, sweetie. It was a bad dream. It was a bad dream. I've never been that type of parent. Having children from the ages of now 9 to 10 months old, if they ever came to me, which they have, I've never been like, go back to your room, it's just a bad dream. It's okay to comfort a child, but don't completely dismiss the child, okay? And that's what my mom, she never did that. She never dismissed me. She always listened to me, and she was like, you know what, maybe she would sit there and try to help me decipher what I was seeing. And she's like, you know, maybe the spirit was just trying to tell you something, and it was getting angry because, you know, you weren't, you know, responding to it in a good way. And I was like, yeah, maybe you're right. I mean, I didn't know anything at the time. I only knew what I knew from Google, like, you know, why do spirits attack? I would Google and stuff like that, and that's what I knew. I didn't know anything else but that, okay? So my mom comforts me. I'm in her room, literally scared shitless, didn't want to leave her room for a good, like, couple of days. I was in her room, in her bed, and she didn't mind. Her and I are like this, so we would just watch movies all night. But I'm the only child, and I was homeschooled, by the way. That has a lot to do with what I'm about to tell you guys, so keep that in mind. I was going through like a vulnerable stage. I was supposed to be hitting high school around this time, but I didn't go to high school because I was getting sick, and my mom was sick, and it was just a lot. So I was homeschooled. There was a tutor that would come homeschool me from my school, and she would come to tutor me and to teach me things, and I would be exhausted, and she'd be like, girl, why are you so tired? Like, you literally have like the most time. The school that I'm teaching you now is only for like 3 hours, and you have the rest of the day to yourself. And I'm like, I just couldn't tell her, well, I see spirits at night. That's why I'm tired. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't do that. I didn't want to look like a damn fool. So anyways, time passes, and I turn, let's say I'm 16 at this time. At this time, these things that was visiting me at night, sitting on me, I'm gonna include a picture on how I felt at the time, like how they were sitting on me. I'm gonna include a picture if I can find one. But at this time, it was more regularly. This thing was coming to visit me like every couple of days. It was like maybe 3 days in between. So maybe like 3 times a week, twice a week max, 3 times a week, and that was already too much for me. Okay, imagine being a 16-year-old. I'm hitting puberty. My mind is changing as well as my body is changing, and I'm alone. I'm the only child. I don't have anybody to talk to. I'm not that close with my cousins. Although, because at the time we had moved. My mom was sick. We were dealing with a lot of stuff. Okay, so I just didn't have anybody to talk to, and I felt like this thing was consuming me. The only person I could tell was my mom, and she was going through her stuff, so I didn't want to bother her. So I was 16, I think around 16, almost 17, and I'm laying in the bed. And I'm just, at this point, I'm like, man, do I go to sleep or do I stay awake? At this point, I know if I go to sleep or I know if I get tired what will happen. Because it's been happening like on the clock. Like, this thing was on the clock. This thing didn't get any damn rest except for 3 days out of the week, and then it will come right back to me and torture me. So at this point, I'm just like, I know what to expect. I know what to expect. I know what's going to happen. And imagine the fear of, you know what's going to happen, but you have to sleep. You are tired. You are emotionally tired and physically tired. and I would doze off. And then I would wake up because I would feel like there's something in the room. At this time, I remember I was tossing and turning, and I ended up on my stomach again. That stomach, me laying on my stomach, I tried to avoid it like a plague, but for some reason I would always end up on my stomach. And that's when this thing had the most control over my body, so to say. And so I am laying on my stomach, guys, and I'm awake. My head is like this on the pillow, and I'm looking around. I'm looking at my window. My window is this way, and I'm laying my head down like this, and my head is facing towards the window. And I'm just looking through the window, and all of a sudden, I feel boom, a weight on my back, and I'm like, oh, whenever it hits me, it's the most painful thing ever. Because imagine 150 pounds just boom sitting on you like that. It's painful. The impact is painful. Okay, I'm so sorry if that was a loud clap. My bad. Sorry. I expressed myself with my hands a lot. Okay, so it was instant. It was painful, and I'm like thinking in my head, ouch, fuck, that hurts so bad. And all of a sudden, I'm trying to move my body, and I can't. And this time is different because I couldn't move my head. I could just move my eyeballs, and I couldn't even. I'm literally, it allowed me to talk, but it's like whisper, whisper, like that type of tone was only coming through my mouth. It would not allow me to have any more than that, so I can't scream for my mom, or I couldn't scream for my dad. Okay, so I'm laying down, and this thing is taunting me. I feel like it's taunting me. Now, mind you, I've never heard it say a single thing until this day, and this is why I think it's not sleep paralysis, because what I've read on sleep paralysis and the people I've spoken to that have sleep paralysis, they've told me they've never heard anything. It's like a feeling that you get, a vibe that you get, and things that you see, but they don't talk to you, so to speak, or interact with you, so to say. So I could be wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong, but this is what like I said, my experiences with talking to other people about. And it said to me, no one is going to help you. And my heart dropped into my ass. When I tell you, I was shook up. I was so scared. Shook up is like above shook. I was shook up, okay? My heart literally dropped into my ass cheeks. And I'm like thinking to myself, oh my God, I've never heard it speak before. This thing, whatever it is, it's real. This is real. I'm awake now. And it's talking to me, and I hear it. So I start whimpering, I start crying, I start praying. And, you know, when traumatic things happen to people, I'm a spiritual person, but sadly, it's not the first thing you think to do is to pray. You panic first. And then you think about what I can do to get out of this, and then you pray. And that's how this experience always was for me. It would always be the like third or fourth thing I do, and that's why it probably lasted as long as it did. So I'm praying, and it's laughing, guys. It's literally cackling in my ear. It's literally cackling in my ear. Now, at this time, I'm 16. I might have been 17. Let's say I'm 17. I think I'm 17. And I am terrified. I almost peed on myself. I'm literally that terrified. I'm not exaggerating, guys. I'm really not. And all of a sudden, I'm not making this up, as God is my witness. Okay, guys? If you're a child, please cover your ears, or please get an adult to watch this part with you. I felt somebody fondling me in my chest area. This whole entire time, I've never felt its fingers, hands, nothing. I've only felt its weight and its presence until now. Okay? And it's putting its hands, it's going slowly down to my stomach, and it's squeezing me. I felt like it's squeezing. It was so tight how it was fondling my body that it was like squeezing me to the point where I felt like I could not breathe. like just like it was enjoying it, like just it was enjoying every second. And then it went down to my inner thighs, and I start panicking, and it started laughing even louder, guys. I promise you, this is exactly what I'm saying. It's exactly what happened. And it's laughing even louder. And I'm praying. I'm like, in the name of, like, I have never prayed for my, when I tell you I prayed, okay, I prayed like my mom taught me right. I prayed. And I feel like it always never releases, but it eventually does. It dissipates. And that's what happened. It started dissipating and dissipating, but not after cackling and laughing at me while I'm praying in my mind, because it wouldn't let me get the words out. And it was painful to get the words out. So I'm trying to pray in my mind, and finally I felt the weight go from 100 and something pounds to 100 to 50. That's how I could feel like a relief. Slowly but surely. Okay. So that was the third major incident. Now this happened from when I was 14. I'm not kidding you. I'm not shitting you guys. This happened from the age of 14 to 19, maybe 18. I think 18. That's when I moved out of my mom's house. So 18. Okay. I met my husband at the ones I'm telling you. This is what stands out in my mind. I met my husband when I was 16. Okay, we met on AOL. We met on AOL, and we've been like this ever since. And my husband is my savior. Like, he's my knight in shining armor. Other than God, of course, being my savior, my mom. He's always been there for me, always. And I remember at this time, I'm 18. Okay, guys, and he had came down after I graduated. He had asked my mom and my dad for my hand in marriage, and my parents were sure. They were so happy because we've been together for so long. So he moves down. Well, he didn't move down intentionally. He came down to visit everybody, just another trip, but he never left. So technically he moved down. And he moved down, and we were living at my mom's house at this time. We were engaged, living at my mom's. And I remember going to sleep. I was really restless this night. This is usually how it starts. This is how I feel, really restless. I feel like there's something in the room, but really I don't see anything. And I just can't sleep until like maybe 3 or 2 in the morning, and then I finally like doze off. Well, I was woken up, and I could see my husband sitting right there on the edge of the bed watching TV, which he usually would do. He would sit at the edge of the bed and just watch TV, but his back is facing me. And I was gonna say, hey honey, but I realized I couldn't talk. And I'm like, oh no, this is another sleep paralysis. And my husband is still watching TV. This is why I think this is not a case of sleep paralysis, maybe a little bit mixed in, maybe a little paralysis, but it's definitely a haunting. It was definitely a haunting. Whatever this was like a fight for my life. And it came to visit me again. And my husband is facing the TV, and I'm trying to say, honey, like, honey. I couldn't get the words out of my mouth. I'm like, Alex. So I'm trying to kick my feet, move it slowly, because I always try and start moving the limb slowly, hoping that would do anything, but it never does. I'm moving it and moving it. Nothing is, at this time, I didn't feel the weight on me. I'm just trying to get myself out of it before whatever it is decides to hop on my ass. And so I slowly am able to alert my husband, but as I kind of moved the bed and shook it a little bit, my husband turns around and looks at me, and I guess he said my eyes were closed. At this time, I feel like my eyes are open because I could see him. It's the weirdest thing. I can see him, but then I couldn't alert him other than just moving the bed. So I'm moving the bed, he turns around, and I'm like, okay, good. He's awake. This thing hops on my back, okay? This thing hops on my back, and I'm like, oh my God, not again. Y'all, it starts fondling me. I started getting scared. Okay, so ever since I was 16 and up, this thing started fondling me and fondling me and fondling me every single time. It started getting more bold and more sexually aggressive with me. I don't know if it's because as soon as I turned 16, it was like, ooh, I like the way her body is, you know what I'm saying? Or, well, I don't know. But this thing was a pervert, okay? And it harassed the crap out of me. So it was on my back fondling me. My husband is paying close attention. I could see him looking at me. But he said my eyes were closed. But I could see him looking at me. And he's like going kind of like this and looking and paying attention. This time he knows what I've been dealing with this paralysis issue. So he tries to lift me up. He comes around to the side of the left bed and tries to lift me up. My husband is like a big dude, hefty. Okay, he can lift me like that, my husband. He can easily lift me up without any hesitation. For some reason, he couldn't lift me up. He said he felt like it was weight on top of my body. And he was like, I tried so hard to lift you up. It felt like literally 100 pounds were added to your weight. And that resonated with me, okay, because like I just been telling you guys, it felt like 100 pounds, 150 pounds was on top of my back. So he's trying to lift me up and he couldn't. He literally couldn't. And this thing is like, whatever it was doing, just hopping on me to make me go down even more. So my husband is like struggling until whatever, I don't know what happened, but I was able to get released out of that paralysis and I jump up and I'm like looking around and he's like, are you okay? Like that was so weird. Like what happened? So I explained to him, I'm like, this is what happened. Like this and this happened. And he's like, I can't believe that. He's like, we need to move out of here. Like this is getting a little out of hand. We need to move out of here. Because at this point, he's experienced stuff himself. That's a different story for a different day. But he actually had experiences himself with whatever the spirit was. So I turned 18. Okay, I'm 18, not 17, 18. It's still happening. But what can we do? We're so young, and we're saving up to move out. Finally, at this time, we're married. We had our wedding at the courthouse. We got married. And we're like, you know what? We're going to move out. We're going to save up money. But we don't. We end up actually getting pregnant, okay, with our first child, Joshua. And I remember, my husband and I sitting down, and I'm like, this is not a place to raise a baby. Like, we need to get out of here. And my husband was like, I totally agree. So we started looking for apartments, and we were able to find an apartment called Arioso. And I don't care that I'm using your name, Arioso Apartments, because y'all screwed me over. You guys know the reason why we broke our lease and we moved out. I told you that place was haunted, and you guys didn't want to do anything. You guys thought I was crazy, and so I had to break the lease because I was with child. Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm not going to live in a haunted house or haunted apartment. So anyways, but that's for another time. I just had to say that to get that out of the way. So time passes and we moved out, and I'm so ecstatic. This is our first apartment, so fancy, so pretty. That apartment was the most nicest apartment ever. It was just sitting on some type of land that was like, I really do believe it was like an Indian burial ground. I truly believe that. And it was just weird. It was by an intersection, and there was always like accidents there, a lot of deaths there. So my husband and I just had to bounce. I don't know why they would build such a beautiful apartment complex. It was brand new. I don't know why they would build it in such a shitty area of land that they picked, but that's what it was. And that's why I was experiencing that later on. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about something else. I'm sorry about rambling. It's gonna stop here. No more rambling. But I remember getting a call from my mother, and she called me telling me, hey, do you have time? Can you sit down? I need to tell you something. And my heart is beating. At this time, she had beat cancer. She was in remission, and she was good. So I remember speaking to her. My mom and I were like this. It was so hard for us to separate and for me to move out, but she knew why I had to move out, and she respected that. Um, and we were talking, and she was like, "Look, I don't know how to tell you this. I don't want to ruin your mood. I don't want to ruin your day. I don't want to ruin your year." But she's like, "I need to tell you about this vision that I had, and this thing woke me up out of my sleep. And I think I know what it wants." And I'm like, "What do you mean? What are you talking about?" And she's like, "Katrina, did you guys hear that? Honey?" Ugh. Anyways, uh, um, let's just act like that didn't happen. Okay. Um, I'm off track now. Oh my god. Okay, so she's like, I need to talk to you about this. And I said, yeah, of course. She's like, this thing came to me in my sleep and woke me up. And she said this thing was as tall as if almost as tall as the ceiling. Like it was towering over her in a threatening manner. Imagine her laying down on the bed and she's on her back. This thing is towering over her. And my mom is like, "What do you want? She said, you have no dominance over this home. What are you doing here?" She asked it. And it proceeds to say, "Where is she?" And my mom said, "Who? What do you want? Like, say what you want so you can leave." And it said again, "Where is she?" And my mom said, "Where is who? My daughter?" And he said, "Where is she?" That's all he would keep on saying. "Where is she? Where is she?" And my mom said, "I'm not telling you where she is. In the name of God, in the name of Jesus, you're going to leave this house. You are no longer allowed to step foot in this house because she is no longer staying here. So you do not need to come here and look for her anymore. She is safe. Leave this house at once." So my mom said she commanded it to leave and it disappeared. And when she told me that story, guys, I had goosebumps. Goosebumps. Because first of all, I didn't explain to my mom the type of I explained to her what was going on, but not in depth about how 3 days would pass and almost like it was looking for me when I was there. 3 days had passed exactly how long I had been at my at our new apartment. We had moved out within 2 days, and I think I think to God's grace, we ended up moving out in those 3 days before this thing figured out that I was gone and I had left my mom's house, or somehow God shrouded me to its vision and it could not figure out where I was. It was extremely upset and frustrated. Almost like it was checking for me, and checking me like, "Where did you go? Like we're married." "No, sweetie, I'm already married to somebody named Alexander Lopez, not you. Okay, so what are you checking for me for?" Because obviously it was a deranged spirit. Um, and I remember moving out within those 3 days by God's grace. Like everything fell into place. The move out date, the date of the movers. We literally legitimately moved all our stuff out within a day. Within a day and a half. So I think one of those days fell on the time that I don't get attacked. Because usually 3 days would pass without me getting attacked. And then the rest of those days I would get attacked by the spirit. So maybe it wasn't there. I'm thinking, I don't know. Let me know down in the comments, guys. I don't know what it was, but I do believe that God, it had a lot to do with God and God protecting me and my husband and my unborn child in my stomach. And I also told my husband any single time we would talk about the apartment and us being qualified, I would always tell him, we don't talk about it in that house. We sit in the car and we talk about it, because for some reason I do believe this thing could be lingering around and probably is listening. I mean, it's a spirit. You don't see it, but it's probably most likely there. So I said, do not talk about anything that has to do with this new apartment in the house. Whatever it is, it's outside of the house. And I think that's honestly what also protected us from it knowing where we were, where we moved, so it couldn't follow us. And I remember I didn't go back to my mom's house till after I had the baby. It was quite a while. My mom had to stage the house over and over again. They did a blessing on the house. My mom did actually get a priest to come out because I was getting so tormented so often. The priest had to come out and bless the house, but that's for a different story, for a different day. And the funny thing was, guys, it's a little bit anticlimactic because I ended up moving from a haunted house to a haunted apartment. Like, that's where we were running to, so, to a haunted apartment. So it's funny how that worked out. I will have a story time out. If you guys like this video, I'll put out another one about our haunted apartment. And I don't know, y'all, if it's me that was attracting it, or if it was the house or the land, or the apartment or the land it was on. All I know is the torment that I actually legitimately went through, and it was terrifying, to say the least. It formed who I am today. I tell you that. It definitely changed who I am today, in a good way as well as in a fearful way as well. So thank you guys for watching. I know this is a long video. I apologize, but thank you for tuning in anyways. I love you guys for that. Y'all are amazing. Can you please leave comments and tell me what you guys think? If this has ever happened to you before, I just want to know what you guys think. Do you guys think it was a sleep paralysis thing, or do you think it was a real spiritual, demonic type of thing? Let me know down in the comments what you guys think, and I appreciate you guys for clicking on this video. And please be safe there. I think Halloween is now officially over. Yep, it's 12 midnight. But just be safe. If any of you guys are going out for partying or whatever for Halloween, just be safe.